Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a birthday card to share with you, a really simple one using the You're the Main event from My Favorite Things, as well as the watercolor wash stencil from My Favorite Things. I don't know if you recall, but when this stamp set was released in February, I made a card, rainbow birthday. I used a slider element and I used the watercolor wash square stencil. And when I was creating that card and doing the voiceover, I realized that there was also an option to use this image with an action wobbler. And I mentioned it then, but I wasn't planning on creating that card or with that system. Now, today I'm doing that because at a certain point it was close to the birthday of my colleague, and I really wanted to make a special card for her. She's amazing. She's really supportive of my hobby here and what I'm doing. It's really fun because whenever we are calling each other on a Monday after the weekend to discuss a specific problem or issue at the job, the moment that is fixed, she's always like, "And how was your weekend? Did you make cards?" And if I made cards, then she wants to see them all, and she's really supportive and she's fabulous and always really excited about what I create. So I really wanted to make her a birthday card. And so this card evolved from there. Why? Because she also really likes the clean and simple designs that I make, just to let an image shine. So I wanted to do that for her as well. And then I thought, well, maybe an action wobbler is the right call here. Because it's the first time, as I can do this year. We are 7 days from each other, and well, 7 years as well, but we both had 2 birthdays that passed during COVID in a lockdown, so we couldn't celebrate, and this year is the first year that we can celebrate. So I really wanted to give her a special card, because we have 3 years to catch up on, you know. So here, this is how this came together. I use the same Starry Sky stencil as I did on the other card because I really love the added effect. I also use some blues in the background because I wanted to use some yellows on the image itself, and you know, yellow and blue, they work great together. So that's why I chose these, and then I have the action wobbler later on to add something special as well. So for the coloring, I'm using my Copic Markes. The combinations are also listed on my blog post if you want to revisit that later on. And I just do the coloring from darkest to lightest. Now for the bear, in the other card that I made with this one, I added a shirt to the bear, which is an option. That is in my head, that's what I had in my head. And then I saw the design team just coloring the image as it was just wearing a pants, and I was like, well, that's genius as well, so I'm doing that here. Really simple coloring, a lot of the same colors all over. The bear is brown, the head and the pants will be yellow, the tiny dot in the middle of the wheel is going to be yellow, and then just a bit of gray on the wheel itself. So really simple coloring, returning colors as I like doing, to keep it all clean and simple, and a second layer wherever is needed. So that's how I roll with my Copic Markes, and the paper that I'm using is Transotype perfect coloring paper. For the way to write this or how it's written, definitely check out the description box there. I have everything listed that I'm using. Just easy for you to retrieve it if you don't know how to write it. And that's just how I build up my coloring. This paper also allows you to add quite a lot of layers if you need to, which is definitely a bonus of this paper, and why I recommend it, because I had in the past some papers that I also loved using, but the moment that I needed a lot of layers, it just couldn't handle that, and the marker started bleeding, and that's just a shame when you're adding all of those efforts in it. You shouldn't have the issue of bleeding. That's just the paper, not necessarily you. So if that's an issue, definitely check out whether you can change up papers. Some people also said to me that they had the bleeding issue sometimes here as well. If you still have that, because I personally don't have that issue, there is always an option to heat set your image in between so that the paper can rest a bit, can dry out a bit, and then you can continue. that's definitely something that you can reconsider doing in between if you really add a lot of markers. Depending on the images also, I think, for example, for flowers, that there can be a need of adding quite a lot of layers to get that gorgeous end result that some of you can get. For the sentiment, I am using some itty bitty sentiments. These are the itty bitty celebrations, and I am adding them on black cardstock. My first attempt was a bit offset. I think it was quite thick when I heat set it, so I did it again. And I'm going to use the Itty Bitty Basics to cut out the sentiments in strips. And then I will choose one of them to add to this card. I immediately heat embossed a few. They can all work. And I just think that next time that I need a card or a quick card and I want to reuse one of my ideas that I already had in the past, changing up colors maybe, I already have a few sentiment strips ready to go. I'm going to add some thin foam squares on the back. There are also black versions of the thin foam squares, which in this case really helps, because when you will look to this strip from the side, you will not see any white. It's not an issue if you see it, but you can avoid that by using some black foam squares as well. Using my T-square ruler to add it straight on top of my wash here, and then I will use the action wobbler on the back of my image to adhere it in the center above the sentiment on this card. And it's still a really simple card, but with this wobbler effect I think it's really cute as well. It's something different from a random card, but you don't need it. I think this card would be gorgeous as well. Also the slider card that I made, without those moving elements, it would work perfect as well. There is enough space, the image is big enough to fill up the card. Definitely do so if you don't have a wobbler or a mover element or anything like that. You don't need to if you don't have it. So that is working, really simple, just adding it. It's already with sticky sides, the wobbler. And then I'm just adding a few final details to finish off this card. I'm using the iridescent crystals from Studio Katia. And once I have them in place where I want to, I'm going to add them using some liquid glue. And the lovely thing here is that the action wobbler is quite high, so you don't have to be bothered about the embellishments that you're using. With a slider, that might be an issue sometimes, so definitely try things out before adhering everything. But in this case, no worries about that. I'm just going to add this panel to the card base. And then this card is completely finished. If you want to, you can still add some glossy accents, but you don't need to. So this is going to be my simple card for today, my birthday card, but using an action wobbler, which makes it really fun. And I love this with this stamp set because it's a fun and joyful stamp set as well. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and of course that you like the end result. Thank you so much for stopping by and taking the time to watch this video. I truly appreciate you all, and I'll be back soon with some new crafty inspiration. Bye!